So for us, I think the path is this. First, you sell one thing online, one physical, just one. And you break the ice and you realize, yeah, I can do this. I can get a stranger to run their credit card and send me $29 or $99 or $500. And gosh, I can do this. I can go from a guy that's just learning about this to a guy that's actually putting money in the bank because someone did it. After you have that breakthrough, then the next thing you realize is, wow, I sold one thing, but what about tomorrow? I'd like to do this more often. And you realize there's two ways to do that. Number one is cultivate the customers that come to you so that you can sell to them again. And number two, add to your product line so that you can have multiple things to sell to the people that come to you. That's another big breakthrough in marketing and advertising. Mike Quarles yesterday, I thought he gave a very interesting model for take one product, sell it like crazy, become the big gorilla, the 800-pound gorilla, and then go to the next one. And then after you start doing that a while, you realize, wow, this is cool. I can make a lot of money if I really focused on the marketing, right? And then you get really good at marketing and you say, this is amazing. I could sell wedding favors. I could sell tennis rackets. I could sell batteries. I can sell anything. But what do I want to sell? And what's going to give me the biggest return? So we all go through that pathway of development. Everybody's in a different place. And I think the ultimate destination, and we never get to the end, of course, but the ultimate destination is we're really good. We get to the point where selling is not the problem, marketing is not the problem. Deciding how to use our resources and our time becomes the challenge and the thing to figure out. So, John, thank you for reminding me about that. Do you find that useful? Useful guidelines?
We're going to spend most of the time today talking about linking and getting links. We talked yesterday about how if you're going to run an internet business, particularly an online store, there's two things that you need to be good at. One is search and one is conversion. And we talked yesterday kind of about the 80-20 rule and how the main thing for getting ranked in the search engines is the number, the quality, the quantity of your incoming links. So we're going to spend most of the time talking about specific strategies for getting links efficiently and things like that. But I want to start off with keyword research and kind of follow up on a couple of things we talked about yesterday. A couple of points for you. When we're looking at keywords, I think it was something we might have talked around a little bit or maybe mentioned yesterday briefly, but it's worth emphasizing that if someone is searching for one or two keywords like weddings or wedding favors, they're probably in that research stage. But if they search three or more keywords, they're more likely to be buying, like beach wedding favors, discount beach wedding favors, chrome heart bottle stopper. Things like that are more likely to be buyers. So we'll keep that in mind as we're building out the content on our site and developing our linking strategy, that the people that are searching more words tend to be buying. So where can we find keywords in addition to the word tracker and the Overture tool and the Google tool that Andy talked about yesterday? One of the most important things that you want to do on an ongoing basis is to keep your eye on your server logs. And I don't think I'm going to take the time to log in and kind of show you, but in the Yahoo back office, you can see the refers where people came from. And if you're hosting on another solution, you can generally get into your server logs in some sort of a user interface, and you can see these refers, and you can see what search engines people came from, and you can see what words they typed in to get to your site. Why is that important? Well, oftentimes, no matter how much research you do at the beginning, in a word tracker report and things like that. And by the way, I'm going to give you some resources, including the place that I use for keyword research. I use keyword research, like Andy talked about yesterday, as a means to decide a good product to sell. And then yesterday we talked about sourcing products. And typically, a great way to find a new product to sell is finding a product. In other words, find a drop shipper, find a good product that's got margins, and then go out and see if there's traffic. And so I use the tools myself to do that. But on an ongoing basis, if you just need a multi-thousand keyword report to tell you every keyword from here till the end of time and the priority of all those keywords, there are services that do that. And I'll share one with you that the professionals in the search engine optimization industry use. And rather than spending your own time putting hours and hours putting a report together, you send it off, pay $100, and you get a complete keyword research report back. But for your own self, to keep your eye on your own things that are going on, you want to keep your eye on your server logs, because no matter how much keyword research you do at the beginning, you'll always get surprised. And you'll see somebody on your site like, oh, I never thought of that one. And then what do you do? We're going to talk about that in a second, but you'll be surprised all the time. So look in your server logs, and so what will happen is one person will like sneak onto your site from something that came up on page 4, 5, 6 of Google for some multi-phrase, usually 3 or more words, and it'll usually surprise you. And once you find that one person got there because you were on page 4 or 5, then you can go and target that keyword, and that's what we'll talk about how to do. But you got to keep your eye on your server's logs and find how people are finding you, even if you didn't mean to do it on purpose. The other thing is competitors' meta tags. Do watch that because especially when you're starting out with a new store, especially if it's a topic that you're not totally familiar with or whatever, you're just selling it because you think there's good margins or happen to found a good drop shipper or whatever. If you don't know the industry that well, look at your competitors' meta tags and find out what they're trying to optimize for and make sure that you've covered all those bases. We talked yesterday about last night about the search box on the site. And that's a great way to find other, you'll find jargon, you'll find that the ways that people search. So for example, if you sell, a classic example is, mortgage loans. You might sell mortgages, but people search loans. And so sometimes people search different than you might think your product is called. And if you look at what people are actually typing in on your site, that can be good clues. And then live person. I want to talk about that just for a second. I wrote an article about using live person that's on my blog at bradfallon.com under the articles section. It's called, I kind of compared it to like being on the front lines of your store. Let me just share this thought with you for a second. If you install live person on your site, whether or not you want to use the live chat function, which I think can be a good idea in most cases for stores. But even if you don't use the live chat or click here to chat or click here to talk to a representative functionality, live person is very, very cool for a couple of reasons. What it does is it has a neat back office that shows you all the people that are on your site at any one time and how they got there. And this is just a great tool to kind of see what's going on. I'll give you a couple examples. So when I start a new site or any site, I install live person on it, and then with the back office, like every time I sort of do it when I first get up or first get to the office, I'll just kind of look on live person. And when you see all these people on your site, it's a little bit reassuring. You know you're still ranking. Nothing fell down during the night, and it's kind of a good feeling to check that in the morning. But what's cool about it is you can look and you just kind of put your cursor up at the top and you go down, down, down. Matter of fact, I might plug into that in a second since we're online and see if I can, let me see if I can show you that. Rather than just telling you about an article, I might as well see if I can get in here. I'll put away instead of online. I don't necessarily want anybody chatting with me right now, which would probably happen if I turned it on. But so here's some of my stores. So mostly we see the wedding favors, and these people are all on my site right now. And so right here, this one I happen to click on, someone typed First Communion Party Supplies. Well, I'm not optimizing for that. I never even thought of that till just now. Now what am I going to do? Well, that's the next slide, and we'll talk about what to do about that. But that's just a perfect example. You rank for all kinds of things. Sometimes stuff that you don't think you're ranking for, like coolest guy on the planet. Andy just passed me yesterday. Huh?
Where did you get this?
I'll tell you. It's live person, which is liveperson.com. Look at that. Andy's #1. You believe that? He was supposed to be the second coolest guy on the planet, Yahoo Store Builder. Now he's #1 and I'm #2. What is going on? Google must be broken. So anyway, so here's live person, and you mouse over this one, and you can see where this person is on your site. Well, they're still on the home page. You can see where they came from. Like this person's probably from New York or Tampa. Sorry. Pineapple favors. You see what I mean? I mean, you could do research all day long, but I didn't know that there was market, but somebody wants pineapple favors. Well. Okay, so I can go to Google and I say, well, first of all, I know they came from Google, right? So you can click right here and you see where they came from, and it could be an ad, but if people are searching it and you're getting ad traffic, that's good to know about. Yeah, this probably is an ad. I don't know, I don't see it. Usually it'll take you right there and kind of show you where it was, but anyway, you click on it, you can go there, and sometimes you're on page 2 or page 3 or whatever. If you see yourself down on the page, obviously you can rank for pineapple favors. It's not that competitive. So if you see you're getting traffic either in your server logs or by just happening to catch it on live person, then you can go and make changes so that you can actually rank higher for these lesser competitive search terms. So I just like to kind of go down and see there's my poker chip site. Here's my blog. Here's somebody listening to the free interview on Instant SEO Expert. So it's just kind of fun. You can see what people are searching for. So that's live person. But I talk about in this article about how it's kind of like using the site analytics, where you sit back down at the end of the month or end of the week or whatever, and you look at all these site analytic tools. Those are great. I mean, you have to have that. You have to use your site analytics and see like the page people are leaving your site, and you can see the click trails through your site with some software packages. But that's kind of like the general running a war back in the war room and back from far away. You kind of analyze this stuff, and you can sort of get a feel for what's going on in the battlefield. But watching these people going through your site on live person is kind of like being on the front lines with a bayonet. I mean, you really don't get a lot of aggregate data, but you can kind of really get a feel for what's going on. I'll just give you one quick example. When we launched a big client site one time, we had these big calls to action right in the middle of the home page. This actually was one of the case studies in Marketing Sherpa, one of my clients that we built this new site for. And so we had these calls to action right in the middle of the home page to get them to do things. And then up above in this horizontal navigation, we had a thing that says products. But that was really for all the other products that the company had. And what we found out on the day we launched the site, I had live person installed, and I found that people were coming to the site and clicking on products, which was common to do. If you're interested, you get there, you click on products. Well, those were all the other products. People were leaving the site like that. Well, if I had waited to use the site analytics and the metrics like that, it would have taken me weeks or months or maybe ever I would have figured it out. But by watching people live on the site and sort of just getting a feel for one person at a time, how he was going through the site, I saw a few people come, go to this page, and leave, and I saw right away, and we fixed that problem in the first 10 minutes. So live person could be cool. It's liveperson.com, and it's like $100 a month, and there's other lesser expensive ones that are cool too, but that's the idea of being able to do live chat and also track people going through your site. So when you find one of these new keywords, what do? Like, for example, we had all our different categories of wedding favors, and then we realized that we were missing one, like we didn't have autumn wedding favors and we didn't have spring wedding favors. So when you find a new category, something like that, if it's major, then you can add a new category. But typically, we're just talking about adding new content. So let me talk about some of the different ways that you can add content. And I'm going to talk about this density here one first. Again, most of our strategy has to do with links. But I want to talk about keyword density just for a second, because we are going to be adding content to the site, and so you can go to ranks.nl, ranks.nl, and just type in your URL. And we want to know our density for, say, for example, wedding favors. Okay, so much for that example. Yeah, there's a couple of these tools. Well, this one normally works pretty good, so make a note of this, and you guys can kind of figure this out later. But you just put in a URL, and it'll show you your density for whatever keyword you want to look for. And typically, people always say, well, what's the perfect keyword density? Well, we're not sure. Google doesn't tell, but probably somewhere between a minimum of 4% and probably a maximum of 12% is probably about what you're looking for keyword density. So if you want to rank for confetti, you don't want confetti to be 50% of the words on the page. You want it to be probably somewhere around 4, 5, 6, maybe a maximum of 12%. So play around with that, and you can tweak it a little bit. But again, 80, 90% of it is going to be the links. So let's get back to that. So when you want to add content to the site, let's talk about a couple of different ways that we can add content. Andy's going to go into more specifics about site structure. I'm kind of covering the off-page factors in this, particularly the linking strategy. But you do want to be able to add new content to the site, especially as you find these new keywords or just as a matter of course. So a couple different ways that you can add content. Number one, the best way is to add another category. So like if I want to rank for coffee wedding favors, the best way to do it is have a second tier page that's coffee wedding favors, or in this case we went for tea, and I've already got plenty of wedding all over, so I think I rank for coffee wedding favors. And the reason you do is because what? Because there's two things that matter, and the two things are the content of the page, but also how the page rank is distributed through the site. And see there, so I'm number one for coffee wedding favors. And the reason I am is because The site has a pretty good page rank altogether, and so that's a second tier page. So as much page rank as you have on the home page, most of that's going to get passed to those second tier pages. So your most priority keywords you want to put there. So if you have an important one like coffee wedding favors, or in fact I thought we already did this, but I don't think we did. We need to add spring wedding favors. That's one that should be big. Now for these lower keywords and things like chrome heart, bottle stopper, those are products, and those are usually going to rank pretty well if you have your store set up right, because every product is going to have its name in the title tag, and those are much lesser competitive keywords, and if that's the title tag, you'll do okay for those. The question is, how do you rank for all these other things, like where can I find really cute wedding favors? Somebody searches in things like that. That's how you pick them up, by adding content to the site. So let me show you some content on the site. Down here under sitemap, I just have one link for wedding plan tips. So this is an example of how you can add, here's my AdSense. So this is an example of how you can add content to a pure e-commerce store. People ask me this a lot, or sometimes they don't know to ask, but now you guys know to ask. You want to have more content on your site. Why? Why is content good? Well, because it's a way to pick up those keywords, right? We can put all kinds of keywords all throughout all kinds of different articles, so that's obviously good. Why is content also good? It makes your site bigger. Why is that good? Because bigger sites rank higher on Google because they do? No, bigger sites rank higher on Google because there's more links back to the home page. And every time you have a link, another page, you have all those main navigational links, which are going to give more links to all of your second level pages as well. So this is what you can do. You want to have the link off the home page, and then you want to go to this second tier page and then have direct links to all these different articles. So like I have common mistakes of wedding, vendor issues, an A to Z checklist. So this is how you add additional content to the site. Just have one link off the home page. You're not really looking for a lot of site visitors to actually see this. You can just put the link down in the text link footer or on the main navigation, and then you can add on articles as fast as you can write them. And we'll talk about strategies for hiring people to write articles, or in the beginning you can do it yourself for free, and articles are a great thing to do. Another way to do it is you can actually, are we talking about trading articles? Yeah, okay. Another thing you can do is you can trade articles. This is something that I actually haven't really talked about in public before, but I'll show you guys. So we have an articles page where we trade articles with other websites. So for example, one of the guys in our coaching program sells Browning gun safes. And this isn't the most competitive search phrase in the history of the world, but it's not bad. This is kind of his main, keyword. So of all of his keywords in a multi-thousand list or whatever, his main one is Browning gun safes. And so here's an article that he wrote about protecting your family, and you make an investment in your guns, so Browning gun safe. So this article has about 20 or 30 links in it. And hopefully you guys are kind of catching what this is. So there's two ways you can trade links. We're going to talk about reciprocal linking and how to do that more efficiently in a minute. But are you getting this? This is 20 or 30 links that all go to his website, to all different parts of his website, with all different keywords to different pages. And how many other link partners are on this page? None. So it's just him. So normally when you trade links with people, right, you're on a page with like 50 other outbound links. On this page, all 20 or 30 of the links all go to him. And this page is how far off the home page. Normally when you trade links with people, you're often buried in some link directory, right, 5 or 10 pages deep, and it's PR 1 or 2 or 3 if you're lucky by the time you get there, and then you have to share the page rank with everybody else on that page. Well, here he's 2 clicks off the home page. Does that make sense?
This is on your site.
This is on my site. This is an article on my site. Right. Right. You have to target those kind of trades. Now, how could you find people that, reciprocal linking is getting more and more popular all the time. This year, we'll get to reciprocal linking. We're going to start hearing more about three-way linking, or as Bob and I like to call it, asymmetrical linking strategies. And we'll talk about that. But there's more and more sophisticated and savvy link traders out there. It's not hard to find people to do stuff like this. All you got to do is provide the articles, and we're going to talk about outsourcing and insourcing and things like that in a second.
Now, this is your wedding favor site, but you're talking about a gun safe. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be relevant to, what's that?
Well, exactly, but he sells gun safes. So all of these links going to his site, how could they be more relevant? right? This page, the title of the page is Browning Gun Safe article.
No, they're relevant to him, obviously, but not relevant to
But
your
no,
site.
I don't imagine, and maybe this is my ignorance in the market, but that people would give a lot of gun safes as wedding favors.
Well, sometimes you get wedding favors. You do want to protect them. They can be valuable.
They're valuable jelly beans.
That's right. Yeah, if they have kids, they got married. Sometimes people get married and they already have children and they want to be sure to keep the guns locked up. That can happen.
Do people find, is there a link from your site that someone logically would go to get to that page, or is it just set up for his links opportunity?
That's right. Again, it's the only link to this page is on the home page down here in the text link footer right there. That's the link to it.
Okay, so you'd really have to hunt for it, but it's helping him out, and you probably exchange links
Could you
with
show
his-
where that link is again?
The link is right here in my text link footer.
Articles.
Articles, okay?
Gotcha. So it's,
Now-
can I just say something? So the function here is to build traffic and search engine ranking. It has nothing to do with sharing useful information to your customers.
Well, that's right. Until someone actually goes to Google and searches Browning Gun Safe. And I think there's the Browning.com website. There's BizRate, which is a huge shopping site. And number 3, for his main keyword phrase, is that article.
And he's writing on your
The
position.
hands go up.
He's writing on your position.
Right,
Yep.
right. Now, why does that article come up? Well, I mean, there's lots of things that have, but it's a fairly competitive search phrase.
Because the article's on your site.
Right, and why does that matter?
Because your site has very high ranking.
I have a high page rank, and it's a very relevant site for Browning gun safes. Google likes content, Google likes article, that works great. So now, once we did that and we saw that that was happening, what we did is we go back, and ideally, if you're going to have an article, what you want to do is you want to write a call to action up at the top. That's not, let me get to the articles page again. If these, knowing that these articles are going to rank, you can go in here and rather than, see the first thing we did when we first made this, we used style sheets to hide all the links. So it just looks like a nice article. In reality, we want to actually undo that so they have blue underlined links. So if someone lands on this, that could help him, but people are more likely to click if it's a blue underlined link. So we want to uncloak the links, unhide the links, and then we also want to have a call to action up at the top. So if people land on this article, rather than getting right into it, they can say, hey, for the best information on gun safes, click here. So it should have a call to action at the top.
Would it be correct to assume that he might quite possibly have a wedding article?
That would be a safe assumption.
But doing that, because I see there is, a good PR on this page, you are not losing this PR by sending it to him instead of redirecting maybe to your own page? Or?
Well, good question. Every time that you link to someone else, you're technically losing PR, but that's the essence of a reciprocal link exchange, is that you're getting links back too. So it's really a net gain. If you go through the math of PageRank, reciprocal linking is a good idea. And we'll see lots of examples of how reciprocal linking works. This is the same thing, just on a different scale. This is just kind of a whole nother level of exchanging content. And this is actually a pretty good article, and this guy's going out there and distributing it. And we're going to talk about distributing articles and press releases and things like that as a strategy to get free links. This is just a super way of doing it, because it takes into account page rank and distribution and things like that.
Is there any correct amount of links in the article that need to be pointing to his page, or?
Well, I don't think you'd ever want more than 50. We've sort of gone with like 20 or 30. 20 or 30 is enough to give you a nice amount of links to sort of do what we call deep linking, to link to different category pages, to link to a few different products, to link a couple links with a couple different keyword phrases back to your home page, and then 20 or 30 is kind of a good number.
If I don't have an apprentice program, how do I find people to work with me that'll say, yeah, sure, you put your article about auto repair on your site, and I'll put the
Come to the Systems Seminar in Chicago. That's one place, and not being facetious. You'll find a lot of people with high PR sites.
See, what you're looking for when you trade links, and I'm going to get into the efficacy and the efficiency of reciprocal link trading programs, but you're looking for people that kind of know what they're doing. And as you trade links, like, are you trading links now at all? Well, you'll find that when you start trading links that there's some people that sort of get a lot better. Some people will never reply to your email. Some people will say they want to trade links and then they never will reply to you. Other people are like, they get it, they get right back to you. They're like, hey, by the way, I have 3 other sites you can trade with. And you're like, great. How would you like to trade an article? And they're like, super. So you'll just come across people in the normal course by just finding good link partners. And then you can kind of take it to the next level. And this is one example of how you can do it. All right. So there's 3 ways you can get links. You can buy them, you can trade them, and you can go get them free. Let's talk about directories for a second. And is the whole thing in the manual that we got? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So from the Stomping the Search Engines, if you don't have that, you should get it. But if you have it, on CD 10, there's a resource guide, and I think it's in this book here too. So there's a whole bunch of directories. So that's just work. There's a bunch of directories. You can either do it yourself or you can hire somebody to go do it. I use a kid that works at home, and I pay him like 20 bucks a link plus whatever the directory costs, and he goes out and gets all the directories for me. You have to do it by hand. Don't spend 50 bucks on any submission tools. There are none that are not a scam. I mean, maybe there are. I probably shouldn't say that, but it's just work. You have to go do it. You can't push a button and go magically submit to 1,000 directories and think it's going to help. But you do have to go get yourself in all the directories, and it is just work, and you have to do it or get someone to do it for you. A couple ones are worth mentioning. Of course, DMOZ, you know, if you don't know, it is very important. It's a very important link. If you can get one, it's a pain in the neck to try to get it. Depending on the category you're in, you may never get in there, but you have to try. Go on DMOZ, look in a couple forums, read some advice on how to get into DMOZ if you're having problems. Make sure you read all their instructions, do it right, do the best you can, and try to get into DMOZ. Some people try for a year and still can't get in. That's just the way it is, but give it the best shot you can. Yahoo. Let me say a couple things about Yahoo. People always say, is that $299 a year worth it? I think so. I mean, I think if you're running a store, I don't really listen to anybody make an argument that it's not worth 300 bucks a year to be in the Yahoo directory. It might not be a ton of traffic. It'll be some. There's things that you can do, though, to make it better, starting with how you name your website. Yahoo's directory doesn't get the traffic it used to, but Yahoo's a big site, and it's worth it to be in the directory. Just for the link alone, it's probably worth 300 bucks a year. But from the traffic, you can get more traffic if you think about doing it right. We've not figured out, let me show you the Yahoo directory. So you go to Yahoo, and you click on directory, and you search wedding favors. Okay, so that's just these listings or whatever. But let's go into the actual directory. So you have these sponsor listings. And then, and this is funny, look at that. I'm not in the sponsor listings, but they're in the most popular. They say I'm a sponsor. So if I'm a sponsor, and by the way, what's most popular? No one knows. I mean, I've never talked to anyone that's been able to figure out how you get your site in the most popular. Obviously, if you can, that's probably a good thing. But eventually, they put some sites in there, and our Alexa rank is, I think we have the 4th most traffic wedding site on the whole internet. So they eventually put us in there. So it's good to be. I think I've been playing around with sponsored. I think it's probably worth it depending on how much business you're doing and stuff. But the point is, these are all alphabetical. So if you've not yet chosen a name for your store, what does that tell you? Now, you don't always compete with all these people, but usually you do. So it's good to begin with a number. It's good to begin with a letter. Aboutweddingfavors.com. AB. Those are great letters to begin a domain name with. A to Z info on weddings. A to Z wedding info. 123 info weddings, something like that. So if you begin with a number or a letter, that's a great way to name your website to be at the top of the Yahoo directory, and that's still a good strategy.
Look at the page rank of that page.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is just a directory in the middle of Yahoo, and that's a decent link.
And then you get the benefit of being a link on that high PR page, right?
That's exactly right. And so that's worth 300 bucks a year probably just by itself. Talk about a relevant link, and it's a decent PR too. So there you go. All right, so you want to go out and seek one-way links. You know, there's a quadrillion ways you can get links, and it's just one of these things that you need to either spend your time on or have someone that works for you, probably full-time, spend their time on. And you need to there's just places you can get links. There's directories is one category, but there's other things. There's just basically going to other websites and emailing the webmaster and saying, we have a site that does this kind of stuff, and it'd be great if you gave us a link. And there's just lots of different ways that you can get free links. Let me focus on some more specific things though. Number one is you can submit articles. There's different ways that you can distribute articles, and just go on Google and search article distribution or free articles, and there's all these websites that aggregate articles, and you can distribute articles that way. You can go one-on-one. Just like you would email someone for a link exchange, you can email someone to post your link. Say, I've written this article on weddings. If you'd like to post it on your site, have at it, and it just has links to you back at the bottom or ideally throughout the article. And people will do that because people want to add content to their site. Why? Because it makes their site bigger and it gives them more keywords that their site will be found from. So people do want to post articles and trade them and things like that. Add content to your site, and the content of your site is always going to have more links on it. It's not just that you add a new page to the site that has new content on it. You're sprinkling the keywords throughout the page. You're always writing each page to focus on one or two other keyword phrases. And you're always going to have 4 to 12% density, but also throughout the text of whatever you write, you're going to have blue underlined links pointing back to different areas of your site. Press releases. Press releases are these days are profound. The word's starting to get out, but a lot of people are still not taking full advantage. The bottom line is today that you can go and submit a press release for $80 on PR Web, and it's profound. I mean, where else, for example, even, especially if you want to get any sort of publicity for your store, or if you know anything about trying to get in the media or getting press releases out and kind of getting publicity. Publicity is great, not just because people all of a sudden are going to beat a path to your store, but just because you can put articles on your site like as seen in the Wall Street Journal or as seen as Entrepreneur Magazine and things like that. It's just great to get publicity. Well, the bottom line is the way reporters work today in 2005, when they get a story assignment, what's the first thing they do? They go to Google News and they go to Yahoo News and they see what else has been written, they look for experts, they see what else is out there, they find some press releases, they see the other articles, and the bottom line is if you optimize your press release properly and you submit it either for free or spend the $80 because it goes out on eMediaWire and it gets on Yahoo News as well, $80, you can write a press release working in your basement, and your press release will show up when a reporter is looking for an expert for a story in between a Reuters dispatch and a New York Times article. That's profound. So get good at PR Web. And you can also distribute press releases for free as well.
That's like getting a brand new BMW for the price of a 1978 Nova or something.
For a tricycle.
For a tricycle.
Here's
or a pogo stick.
Do you have any guidelines anywhere on what you mean by optimizing the PR properly?
Yeah, exactly. Press releases are actually pretty simple. I mean, I could probably talk about this for an hour, but that's just talk. It's real simple. Just the title of the press release and about the first 100 words of the press release. Just make sure your keywords are in there early and often in 100 words. Repeat them a couple times, using them a couple different ways in the sentence. First 100 words of the press release and the title of it.
And you have an interview with the world's leading expert on that on SEO Radio that people can download if you want to get into it.
That's great. Thanks. At SEOradio.com, which is my free radio show once a week, Tuesdays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We interview all kinds of experts in the search community. One of the guys we interviewed was Greg Jarbo from SEO PR, which is SEO-PR.com. And they are really, that's all they do for a living, is help large companies optimize their press releases. And, but it comes down to the title and the first 100 words.
Can I say one thing about that? One of the keys to making press releases work is to tie your thing, whatever that is, into a big current news event. So I'm trying to think of an example. What's big in the news right now? We're all here in this isolation booth, but I wonder what's going on. Daytona 500?
Celebrity wedding. Any celebrity wedding.
Oh yeah, great. Every time some celebrity gets married, Brad could roll out the 10 most popular wedding favors for celebrities.
Yeah, or just
article.
Suggestions, or Britney Spears' wedding favorite. That's a great idea. Something else too. Let me mention this. If you guys are thinking about starting a Yahoo store, let me kind of let you in on this little secret. It probably won't apply to everyone, but for the ones it does, this can be huge. Yahoo, which is a really big company, employs or contracts with a very large public relations firm called Fleishman Hillard. It's one of the largest, biggest PR firms in the country. Yahoo uses them to get publicity for Yahoo. They also use Fleishman Hillard to get publicity for Yahoo store owners. So word of the wise, if you have a Yahoo store and you start doing anything, they're out there every day trying to get publicity for Yahoo stores to find examples of successful Yahoo stores to put in the media wherever they can to make Yahoo look good. How do I know this? because Fleischman Hillard is working for me for free to get publicity for my wedding favors. That's how we got in the Wall Street Journal 2 weeks ago. We had 2 columns about this big on page 2 of the marketplace section for our little business. That's pretty cool. So if you get a Yahoo store, keep that in the back of your mind.
Microphone this way, please.
Yesterday, I think Andy commented that, I mean, it's real easy for you to get more links than this site that had 350 links or whatever the case is. Seems like it's very time-consuming seeking out your own links, as you talk about. There's websites like Link Partner. Those, are they any good? Can you address those?
We're going to talk about all those.
Okay.
Yep. There's some good ones. There are some good ones. Distributing your content on RSS feeds can be good. That's probably, that's something you want to learn to do and whatever, but it's probably not in your top 10 list of things to do. Get your store launched, get it up, start getting some links, but once you get things going, consider distributing your stuff on an RSS feed, and then people can post it onto their sites, and that's just becoming more popular all the time, and that's going to be big. So if you don't know what RSS is, go on Google and search around and play around with RSS. But that's something that you're going to want to get good at after you get good at search and conversion. And then blogs can be cool in general. I mean, there's things that you can do with a blog to support an e-commerce store. We haven't started one of these yet on our store, but it's definitely on the list. Blogs are great. Why are blogs great? Number one, they're killing it in the search engines, right? Everyone knows that. If you search anything, blogs come up. Why? Because they update their content a lot. Every time you make a new post, it creates a new page. They end up being really big sites. People like to link to blogs. They get a lot of link popularity. Blogs kill it in the search engine. So if you can figure out a way to make a blog work with your site, that's great. You don't have to host, like if you use a Yahoo store, the blog doesn't really even have to be on the same domain, although it could be. You can host it on TypePad, or you can use movable type, put it on a different server, and just kind of feed that traffic to your other site and make it 2 separate domains. That's okay too. But if you get a blog going on your subject, that can be good for a lot of reasons, including helping you get higher organic search listings. If you have any questions about blogs, raise your hand. But the point is, have one. And how to have one, I mean, you go out there and look around, see how other people are doing it. If you're reading Marketing Sherpa like you should be, they have a case study about how T-Shirt King, which is just an e-commerce retailer, uses a blog to double their sales. And so you can find good information. But do consider getting a blog as soon as you get your store up and get everything else going on your priorities.
What was that called? Marketing Sherpa?
Yeah, Marketing Sherpa. That's one of the leading, Ken mentioned it yesterday, it's really one of the leading sources of information for online metrics, online case studies, online marketing information. It's Marketing Sherpa, SHERPA.com. And so you definitely want to get a lot of stuff that they have. And they publish all these case studies for free, and then they're like free, and then after a few weeks they're like $10. So get a lot of things that they have. All right, let's talk about buying links. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can go through text link brokers. Textlinkbrokers.com is one site. Patrick, what's Patrick Gavin's site? Positioned, past tense, position, ed, the number 1, positioned1.com.
It also has text-link-ads.com.
Yeah, text-link-ads.com. So those are two pretty good text link brokers. They a couple of the leaders. They sell an awful lot of text links, and because of that, they usually get pretty good inventory. So you can go there and see what they have for sale, and you can buy some links. We'll talk about how to buy links and stuff like that in a second, but just know you can go there and buy links. There's auctions links. Link Adage, for example, you can go and bid on different people. Go auction off links on their site. Blog ads are kind of the new up-and-coming thing. I don't know if any of you have seen Henry Copeland's website, blogads.com. They mostly trade in banners and things like that that go on different blogs, but definitely there's going to be more and more blog advertising going on, despite the fact that Google's trying everything they can to make blog links not count. Still being on a blog roll and somebody's main navigation is probably a great thing. What next?
Have you heard anything about the 3? I got a bunch of emails from highly evolved individuals on the internet with sophisticated sites that are non-gurus and that I trust and I communicate with on a regular basis that told me that there was a meeting with the three major search engines, and they're trying to resolve the issue of blogging relevance. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, the main issue was comment spam. Is that what you're talking about? They use automated robots or spiders, they write scripts to go out there and find comments that allow posts, and then they post spam back to their either adult site or gambling site or sites like that in most
But
cases.
it's starting to affect their topical relevance because it messes with their system.
Right. Having a lot of links that are out there automatically generated
That are
messes with our
junk.
system.
I mean, well, that are not topically relevant. You know, I mean,
Right. So that's the issue. The issue is comment spam, and so Google wanted to do something about that. So what happened is Google contacted not only the other search engines, but all the major blog software companies, and they came up with a new tag to put in links that's called no follow. And so you can put no follow tags into the link, so the link would be there, and it would look like a normal link, but the search engines would not follow it. So all the search engines are cooperating, and all the blog software companies are cooperating, and this will soon be the default for all these blog softwares. I haven't implemented it yet, of course, because I want to be able to have people trade links like I think the internet works, but soon it'll be a default, and so blogs, as far as comment links, are not going to do what they used to, and hopefully that will lower the amount of blog spam that's out there.
Has movable type implemented that?
Yes. Okay, so that's blog ads, individual site owners. The best way to get paid links is to contact the website owner directly. If you go through a text link broker, what happens? I mean, they have inventory and it's easy, but it's usually more expensive. If you can find websites yourself and contact the website owner and offer to buy a link, that, in my opinion, is one of the best things that you can do. Again, it's time consuming or whatever, but this is all time consuming. And so if you're out there looking for link partners anyway, and you come across a great site, and here's a link directory, well, sure, I'll take a link in the link directory and I'll do a reciprocal trade, maybe a three-way trade, we'll talk about that. But the point is, I'm happy to trade with the site, but this is a great site. There'd be nothing better than a homepage, than a homepage link on this site, or maybe a second tier link on this site. Contact the website owner. The best way to do it is some of these sites that have a decent PR now are starting to sell text links themselves. And if they do it themselves, you're much better off buying it directly from them and not through a text link broker, just because it'll be cheaper and you have a lot more control. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you give me an idea of what the cost is for buying a link?
Yeah, when you're buying a link, you're usually paying on a monthly basis, so you're really renting a link, right? So if you stop paying for it the next month, then the links go away. And by the way, that's a bad thing to do. Like, don't go out there and buy a whole bunch of site-wide links. And I'll explain site-wide. Site-wide, there's two different ways you can buy links. You can buy them on every page of the site, and that's called ROS, or run of site. So they'll put look like a banner. You've seen these probably, but they look like banners, but they just have text links. But their server-side includes or whatever, just like a normal banner would be, and they show up on every page of the whole website. So that's called a run-of-site link. So your link's going to be on every page of the whole site. Some of these sites are huge, so you end up with 20,000 links. I don't think that helps on Google, but it's killing it right now on MSN. The problem is if you go out and buy a bunch of run-of-site links, then what happens is if you stop paying for that and it goes away, I've seen a lot of problems where people would be up in the rankings, and all of a sudden Google will start going back and finding that all these links that used to be there are now gone, and that appears to be a bad thing. So you want to, if you're going to buy links, you want to kind of ramp them up over time. Don't just come out and buy a ton of them at the beginning, which is bad for other reasons that we'll talk about too. But don't just go out and buy a bunch of them and then stop paying for them, decide it wasn't worth it after 1 month, and then you have all these links gone that used to be there. But to answer your question, they usually go anywhere from, $10, $15, $20 a month for a little PR 4 or 5 up to $1,000 a month for a PR 9. PR9 I don't necessarily recommend for $1,000. Good deals are like 6s for $100, a couple $100 a month, $150 a month. PR7s, $100, a couple $100, $250 a month, something like that, somewhere in there, just to give you a flavor.
One thing, I buy a lot of text links. You guys still don't got that wait for the microphone thing yet, huh?
When I buy text links, it really helps me to buy for PR, to get my newer sites to get a higher PR, and then people are more apt to want to exchange links with my site. Also, this could probably help a lot of people when they're starting a reciprocal link program. It's one of the most time-consuming jobs that there is. we have a system whereby we contact by email, then we contact by fax, and then we contact by phone number. And it's very effective.
That's good. One of the things that I wanted to talk about here under issues, when you're buying links, it comes down to the PR. And that point is an excellent point, is that even if PR isn't as important as it used to be, and you'll hear talk in the forums about how PageRank doesn't matter anymore and things like that, well, I think that for Google it's because that's just one PageRank, and now there's multiple PageRanks that aren't displayed. But the point is, a lot of people think PageRank is real important, and if you're a PR 0, you're a brand new site, people don't want to trade links with you. So the faster you can get at least up to a PR 5 on your home page, then the much easier to trade links. And then once you get going good, then people will be emailing you all day long to trade links, and we'll talk about that when we get to reciprocal linking.
Is there a tool to find pages that have a higher page?
Yes.
Oh, so you don't just have to wander around.
Let me get through my paid link stuff here,
Okay.
and then we'll move on to reciprocal linking and cover a bunch of stuff. But the issue is these are sold by PageRank, and even though PageRank we don't think is necessarily as important as it used to be for Google rankings, it is important to have a high PageRank. Now keep in mind that your PageRank and your page reputation are completely separate. Sometimes people miss the boat on that. So if you're going out and buying a text link, usually you're going to buy those text links with your keywords in it. But you're really buying those high PR sites, like particularly if you buy like a one link on a site. And by the way, we don't think that Google is really counting, like if you get 1,000 links from one site, we think they're counting one. That's the reason that I generally think that buying site-wide links can be overpriced. Just because it's not helping you on Google as much as the market would sort of indicate that the price is. On the other hand, site-wide links can work great on MSN, so you kind of have to take that into consideration. On the other hand, it used to be that anything you would do for Google would help you on the other ones too. Well, now you can do things on MSN that will help you on MSN and actually hurt you on Google. So it is a little bit more of a balancing act than it used to be, but we'll talk about some of Google's new rules in a second. But the issue is PageRank, and if nothing else, as he said, people will want to trade links with you more if you get the PR up. So a couple tools to know about. Google and Yahoo. On Google, you're searching link colon whatever, link colon domain name, link colon www domain name. On Yahoo, of course, you have to search link colon http colon / www. You have to search the whole thing to find the links. On Google, you can run a couple of searches looking for potential link partners. You can search all in URL colon or all in title colon. And so, and you can combine some other searches. So for example, what you're trying to do is find link partners yourself. So search like keyword 1, keyword 2, or search all in title for your keywords, and that will only pull up websites that actually have your keywords in the title of their site. Keep in mind that for relevancy, that you don't have to be like a wedding favor site. You don't even have to be a wedding site. You just don't want to be a game site, or the relevancy is much broader than most people think. Like any shopping site is probably going to be good for your e-commerce store. But certainly start with your own category. And if you're in a category like weddings where there's lots of sites, just search all in title weddings and go trade links with all those guys. You can also add the search phrase add URL. Or what's another one, Andy?
Submit site.
Submit site, quote submit site, quote add URL. If you search for those words and a page that's got your keywords in the title, those is a great way to find link partners with Google. There's other software tools that kind of do this sort of thing for you. PR Prowler is one. So PR Prowler will go out and find websites with your certain keywords organized in order of PageRank. And you can just say, I want to only find PR 5 sites and above that are relevant for the word wedding favors. And it'll go find you a bunch of sites. SEO Elite, for example, OptiLink is for looking at backlinks. And why is that good? Well, you want to find who's linking to your competitors. Which competitors? If you're going to go, if people are already linking to your competitors, there's probably a good chance they'll link to you, right? You just have to go after them. And once you've identified those people, as he made the point, you can email them, and then you can fax them, and then you can call them. Why would you want to do that? Well, because Google, we know, cares more about relevancy now. So how do we know what links are relevant? Go to Google, see who ranks, get the links that are linking to them. And insist that you get the links that are linking to them. That's all we can tell you about the relevancy of the links, right? If those sites are ranking high on Google, they must have relevant links. Go get those links, even if you have to call them. Does that make sense? Okay, and then SEO Elite is kind of like OptiLink because you can do a backlink search and you can see the people that are linking to the competitor, but then it will also email, it's also an email tool as well. So if you haven't used SEO Elite yet, you want to download that and check that out. Okay, let's talk about reciprocal linking. Efficacy, does it work? People that rank for competitive search terms are nodding their heads. It works. It works like a champ. Why do some people say it doesn't work? Why do some people say reciprocal linking is dead? Maybe you haven't heard that, but in the forum, some people will tell you in public. They'll sit on a stage and say at a search engine strategy conference, I don't believe in reciprocal linking anymore. Why would someone say that? Nah, not so much that, but you never know. You never know. Your competitor might tell you that.
Urban legend?
Urban legend? I mean, it's a rumor.
You don't have any sites that rank.
I think so. I think the reason a lot of people think is because of number 3. It's hard. You can spend an awful lot of time. I mean, tell me I'm wrong, but you can spend a lot of time not getting very many links if you don't really, if you don't know what you're doing. So we want to make you know what you're doing. But before we get to the actual strategy, let's talk about etiquette just for a second. There is sort of an etiquette that's sort of evolved around link exchanges, and I'm going to tell you what it is, and then I'm going to tell you what I do about it. But the issue is this. The way a link exchange program was meant to be is like, here's 2 websites. You would go out and you contact the website owner. Well, first of all, you're sending an unsolicited email to this other website owner for commercial purposes. So there's some spam issues there, and some people have a problem with that. But the real deal is, if you're sending an email one at a time to a guy whose website you've actually been to, people don't necessarily have a problem with that. If you use an automated tool to go spider a whole bunch of sites, grab off a bunch of emails, and shoot the same form letter to all of them, not only does that not work so well anymore, but that's bordering on something that you probably shouldn't do in terms of email spam. So that's one issue. The other issue is that the way it's supposed to work is you would contact a website and you would say, hey, you want to trade links? Well, the way you're supposed to do it to save everyone's time, and this is sort of the etiquette thing, is you're supposed to link to them first. That's the way it was supposed to work. That was sort of known as the etiquette. That was the proper thing to do. So you would say, dear webmaster or dear whatever, I've been to your site. I think we could trade links, and I'll kind of tell you what some of the language is in a second. But I think we should. I think we should trade links. I'm already linking to your site. Here's a link to the link on my site that links to your site. I'd appreciate it if you link to my site if you'd like to. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, nothing. I mean, that was kind of the etiquette. I mean, otherwise you're just bothering all these people. But if you're saying, hey, I've already linked to you, I appreciate if you link back, that was kind of known as being the best etiquette. The problem with that, and some people, by the way, will get annoyed if you don't do that because they perceive that that's the etiquette and they think you're doing it wrong, and they'll just get on a high horse and give you a hard time. And you didn't read my website. I have a whole 2-page article on why that's not why you're supposed to do it. So there are people out there that will say strange things like that, but that's the way it is. So, but why is it a bad idea to link to them first? Because most people aren't going to reply to your email. I mean, that's just the bottom line. We're going to talk about some strategies so you get much more efficiency, but a lot of people are never. So what are you going to do? You're going to link to all these people, and then you have to monitor. They don't never get back to you, and you have to go remove their links. That's really a pain. So here's what I think are the magic words for doing an outbound reciprocal link program. Here's what I like to do. And I'll tell you some advanced subject lines in a second. But in the subject line of the email, I think you want to be pretty direct. If other people trade links, you can throw out some ideas of what you've been doing, but I think you want to be direct. I like to say link exchange. Link exchange dash their site in the URL. Or if you have a high PR, sometimes we'll say link exchange from PR7 website. That sometimes will get their attention, but you don't like that one? What do you guys like to do? Somebody give him a microphone. They do a lot of reciprocal linking. We're testing subject lines all the time. What have you guys found out?
What we do that's very effective, we target in the like the first 5 people. We need to be linked to everybody, or at least the first 5 websites, in the search phrase. So we really do it the really old-fashioned way and the hard way, but it's effective. We place the links on our sites first. We do the best we can to personalize, the email. So if there's a site owner, we'll try and use the first name. We'll also copy the webmaster. We'll send it to the website, and we'll copy the webmaster. And a good subject line is we like to put first name. First name, need your help with link exchange, and that's
okay.
a very effective one.
That could be good. If you can get the first name, then Were you going to say something?
I have a different mindset. I agree with what I believe is your mindset. Your people contact me on a regular basis. SEOresearch.com. Nice guy. Anyway, what I like to do is, because I sell what people are buying. And so I'm in no particular niche. I'm shooting shotgun shells out of a pistol. Anyway, so what I like to do is I like to keep it short to the point, and I like to say link exchange, and just make and I do from a page rank whatever, and I don't, I make it real quick, in and out, boom, boom, and I don't do the link. I don't do the link until I get a response, because it's wasted labor.
I totally agree with that. So I think both of those things are correct. If you can get a first name, obviously use it. And again, to target those first 5, I think it's important that you get those first 5. And I'd be willing to pick up the phone to do it. But if you're going to email a lot of people, you're not always going to have the first name. And so being direct, they know it's a link exchange. And by the way, who are you targeting for link exchanges? I didn't say this, and perhaps it's obvious, but you're targeting people that do reciprocal link exchange programs. The days of just trying to contact the average webmaster and say, hey, let's trade links, if they don't have a reciprocal link exchange going on, if they don't have a directory going on, forget it. I maybe should have made that more obvious, but don't even waste your time. There's no point in emailing somebody that doesn't have a reciprocal link exchange program, other than to email and offer to buy a link or say, can I advertise on your site? You can find some great sites and send them an email, or call them and say, hey, do you guys take any advertising on your site? And sometimes people are like, nobody's opposed to taking money, so sometimes people that don't have advertising on their site can be talked into a small link over anywhere. And again, I started to say, but let me finish the thought that I started earlier about page rank and page reputation being separate. So if you're going to go get a link from say a PR7 site, you don't really care if that one link has your keywords in it. Does that make sense? You see, the page rank and the page reputation are separate. So you get all these links that are building your reputation because the keywords are in the blue underlined links that point to you. And then you're getting websites to link to you for page rank. You could have a little image. You could have nothing. You could have a link with the word "the" in it. Doesn't matter, because that site is going to pass the page rank to you. So you don't have to have the keywords in it. If you sell, most people aren't selling things that would be offensive to anyone, so it doesn't really matter. But just keep in mind, no matter what you sell, if your main keyword is like 3 long words like Browning, Browning firearm safe or something like that, and it won't fit in their nice little column, just have the word gun or Browning or safe or something like that, and safe would probably be the best one. And you don't have to use all your keywords in the link. That's the point. Okay, so where were we? So we're talking about
Best practices for email.
Yeah, so for the emails, here's what I think are the magic words. If you can get the first name, great. In the subject line, I like to be short, I like to be direct, test a couple of different things. And as you start, if you guys don't have sites now and you're not actively building links, you're not really seeing all this. But once you start doing it, you're going to see a lot of people emailing you too, and you'll see people doing all kinds of different things. So it's not like there's one form letter, say, here's the form letter, do this. You'll see a lot of form letters out there, and usually you'll just recognize them right away as a form letter. You want to give the impression that you're savvy, that you do this a lot, that you're not going to waste your time, and that you're not just using some form letter that you copied off a software program. That's, I think, one of the tricks. So, but here's the magic words that I like to use in our emails. It says something to this effect. You give the impression that you're savvy, you know the etiquette, but you're trying to be efficient, you're not going to waste anyone's time, and if they deal with you, it'll be a good thing, and it's going to not waste time. So you say something to the effect of, I would be happy to link to you first, comma, just reply to this email. If you just reply to this email, period. To save time, comma, here is the link text that I would like, and you tell them. Does that make sense? So you're saying, I would be happy to link to you first, just reply to this email and let me know what link text you would like. To save time, comma, here is the link text that I would prefer. Thank you. People appreciate that if they're trading links. They don't, managing these links and dealing with links is trouble enough without trying to deal with people that you got to send 3 or 4 emails back and forth just to get a link traded. You see how that would be a little more efficient? And so, again, your target is people that are actively trading links. If they're not, forget them. But if they are, that's the kind of thing that will save time. Let them know in a word that you're savvy and that it's good, that you're a good person to trade links with. Then if they, Ken's going to say something
and
first.
Brad, the way that you tell that they're link savvy is, what are some clues when you look at their site?
Well, you're looking for a link directory. You're looking for, you're looking for two things. You're number one, you're looking for where their link directory is on their site, because you're going out and looking for these usually one by one, or you're using a software tool to kind of find them, and they're going to spider them and tell you the PR yourself. You don't want some terrible directory that's got all PR zeros and ones, and they've got hundreds of links on the page. You want to have a decent, directory. But the main thing you're looking for is on the home page, it should say link to us. And by the way, if I didn't say it before, put that in your notes. When you're building your site, on your main navigation, one of the most important things that you can have is the link to us section, right? Because once you start to come up in the rankings, once you get a little page rank going, people are going to contact you every single day to trade links. And how much work do you do for those links? Nothing. So you have to have a very clear link to us page. And there's a couple of different best practices that I should probably tell you about. First of all, if you're actually using software to automate it, that's probably the best. And then the software has its own set of instructions that comes with it. If you start out manually like we did, I can kind of show you the idea. So here, right under the email box, you have a links section. You do have to have a home page link to your links category. You can't just the idea is to get a decent page rank to your links pages. Why? Because you want to pass more page rank to other pages? Not necessarily. But you need to get decent page rank to your pages because more people will want to trade links with you. And the more people that trade links with you, the better. So don't try to do anything weird and not get good page rank to all your link directory pages. But you just basically say, link to us. You want to link to my wedding favorites. We would love to trade links with you on our links pages to page rank 6. Here's the text we want. You give it to them so they cut and paste it. You show them what it's supposed to look like. That's it. Show them what it looks like. Give them the code. Be polite. And to learn about our top-rated affiliate program, click here. So you can put that in too. You put that in the email again? This is on your site. Right. This is so you don't have to. Yeah, in the email you're gonna show them your link text of course. Yeah, exactly. Right. And you'll see lots of examples once you get a site out there and start doing this.
Brad, does it matter if you're getting a lot of links using that text right there? Does it matter if all those sites use the same text?
Yes. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay.
We're going to get to the Google link trap and what you got to watch out for. If I forget, remind me because that's an important point.
And I have one more question.
Yep.
I just started to use Link Manager on some of my sites to build some directories. Does it matter the quality of those sites that you're exchanging links with automatically?
Let me answer it this way, and if this doesn't answer your question, I can drill down a little bit more, but let me answer that question this way. In terms of the quality of the sites that you're going to link with, what should be some rules for who you would be willing to trade links with? Here's my hint. Much less than most people think. You'll see people out there that will refuse to trade links with someone because they're a PR1. Well, I think that's crazy. If somebody's out there actively building links, just because they're a PR1 or a PR0 now, see, you can look on the toolbar, and if they're a PR0, that probably means the page is new. If the page was banned, it would be grayed out. So as long as the page isn't banned, even if they're PR0 and they have a new site, if they're out there actively building links, why would you not want to take that link when you can? So I don't really turn anyone down for being a low PR. In terms of relevancy, that's the point of a link directory, right? So you have a directory with all kinds of different categories, and they're linking to you from the category that's relevant to you, you're linking to them from the category that's relevant to them, and that's the way it works. In terms of the anchor text, we'll talk about that in a second. Last Tuesday in the radio show, we had Brad Callen, who's the programmer for SEO Elite, which is one of the software packages we just talked about. His site right here is number 2 for weight loss. Would we all agree that's a competitive search phrase? And all he does is reciprocal linking, using PR Power and SEO Elite to find good link partners and handle all the emailing.
Just for yardstick, let's try to calculate what that link would be worth if you had to pay for it. I mean, how many searches per month on weight loss? 1 million, maybe? I don't know. It's way up there.
I wonder what his Alexa rank is.
It's in the hundreds of thousands, and I'm sure those clicks aren't cheap. Let's say there's only 100,000 searches and they're only a dime each. So we're lowballing it like crazy. That's $10,000 a month in value he's getting by doing what? Doing a little linking, or doing a lot of linking in his case.
Yeah.
And the reality is it's probably more like $100,000 or $500,000 worth of value per month for free, for links. That's why Brad's going so deep into this.
Brad, would you say that
or would you think it's accurate to say, in terms of the value of reciprocal linking, that on your sites and probably almost every top-ranked site in anything in e-commerce, that the vast majority of links are reciprocal links?
I think that's probably fair to say. I mean, I think a lot of people do buy a lot of links too, so those would be one-way links. but definitely, I mean, you know, everyone that's out there that's doing e-commerce, all these Yahoo store owners, the days of people saying, oh, well, reciprocal linking, that's just two people trade links just to get up in the search engines, and that's not really legitimate. I mean, those days are over. I mean, you need a lot of links. You have no hope of ranking for competitive search terms unless you get a lot of links, and getting them for free is one of the best ways to do it. And so reciprocal linking is great for all those reasons. Now, let's talk about a couple of details about reciprocal linking. So we talked about what to say in the emails. Let's talk about what anchor text you want to get. So, so it used to be that you would go out and get all of your links that all say wedding favors. And that would give you the best chance of ranking for wedding favors. And then once you're ranking high enough for wedding favors, you would go out and get a bunch of links that said bridal shower favors. And then you would target that. Well, and so you'd end up ranking for all these things. But the problem is today is that Google has some filters and things in place, mostly to prevent people from trying to get their website in the search engines by doing artificial things. And so what are artificial things? Going out and buying a bunch of site-wide links. So they don't count links from more than one page on a site, we don't think, per domain or even IP address. What other things? They're trying to filter out certain link directories. What else? They're trying to filter out people that are just going and getting a bunch of links that appear unnatural. So if you go out and get 99% of your links to say wedding favors, and the title of your website is wedding favors, you can get kicked out of the top 1,000. How do I know this?
Because you've been kicked out of the top 1,000.
And so some of you guys that listen to Stomper know, I mean, it was probably been, 6-9 months ago now, but I was bouncing my website on and off the first page of Google. One day I'd be number 8, the next day I'd be not in the top 1,000. The next day I'd be number 8, next day I'd be not in the top 1,000. And all I was doing was changing my title tag. As long as we're on the subject, let me just kind of cover one more thing about title tags. Notice my title tag here is wedding favors, wedding party favors, and bridal shower favors. Did we cover the order yesterday?
No.
Okay. I showed this to a lot of people. I can't remember if I covered this yesterday. Okay, so I want to rank for, what do I want to rank for? Well, you can look at a person's title tag and know right away what they're trying to rank for. I'm trying to rank for wedding favors, I'm trying to rank for party favors, and I'm trying to rank for bridal shower favors. Okay, I think I'm number 2 now for bridal shower favors. I think I'm number 2 for party favors, or 3 maybe, which is pretty good. And I'm number 1 for wedding favors. Well, here's a point that I want to make to you about title tags. A while ago, I was number 2 for wedding favors, and I was getting kind of irritated, and I wanted to be number 1. So I thought, what can I do? And I'm sitting here looking at all these things on the first page of Google. And I thought, you know, what is it? You know, what can I do? They all have wedding favors in the title. A lot of them start with wedding favors. They all have wedding and favors multiple times in their title. So what I did, my title used to be wedding favors dash bridal shower favors dash wedding party favors. So what I did was I thought, I wonder if I increase the prominence of wedding favors in the title tags. In other words, if I move wedding party favors here, and so basically I reverse this and this. So instead of being wedding favors, bridal shower favors, wedding party favors, I changed it to wedding favors, wedding party favors, bridal shower favors. 36 hours later, number 1. So just know that in Google, the title tags are real important. Also brings up another point. How many terms should you target for each page? Well, if it's a product page, it's usually pretty obvious, like Chrome Heart Bottle Stopper. There's a product. All your product pages in Yahoo Store are built that way. You make sure that whatever system you use, make sure that whatever products you have on those shopping cart pages, you're going for static HTML, right? You don't want the ampersands and the nonsense and the gobbledygook, and you know, Andy talked about that yesterday. You don't want that. You want nice static HTML pages. So like if you go here and you click on like, I don't know, maybe like coffee wedding favors, coffee-favors.html. That's what you're looking for in a shopping cart system. You want nice static HTML pages. And then this is a tag right here, coffee and tea wedding favors. Then we have these in the perfect blend personalized coffee favors. It's right there in the text, and that's going to be the title. That's what you're looking for. And Andy's going to cover some more about site structure and actually how to organize all this stuff. But the point is, what was the point? Oh, yeah, we're just talking about the titles and how they're real important. They're real important for your product pages, they're real important for your category pages, and they're certainly real important for your home page. And so my point is, how many things can you optimize for on any one page? 2 or 3. 2 or 3 things per page you can optimize for. So as you add the content, as you add articles, as you add product pages, as you add category pages, go for 2 or 3 terms for each page, put a couple things in the title, and those are the links that you're going to get. Why do you want to get a couple things? Why is a couple things better than one? Well, nothing counts unless you get the reputation, right? So you can't rank for anything unless you get a bunch of links. We talked about that. You can't rank for anything competitive. Now, a long product name is non-competitive. Sometimes you can rank for that just by writing an article, adding a paragraph of text, and you can rank for that. But you can't rank for anything competitive unless you get a lot of links. And the links have to enforce the reputation. Why is it good to go for more than one thing on a page? Because you're going to get links that say both of those things, okay? So you're going to get some links that say wedding favors and some links that say bridal shower favors. Why is that good? Because if you get all your links to say one thing, Google will filter you these days. And that's just the deal. We've seen it time and time again. I call it the Google link trap, in that if you go out and get a whole bunch of links that all say one thing, and that's either overly optimized on your site, or maybe if it just matches the title tag, or maybe if it matches the title tag and the H1 tag on your page. The point is, if your page is clearly optimized for that term, particularly in the title, and all your links say that, gone. So you have to mix it up a little bit. How do you mix it up? One way you can mix it up is by going for more than one term. So if you get a bunch of links that say one thing and a bunch of links that say another thing, and there is a little crossover with the word favors. So you've got wedding favors and bridal shower favors. If you build links that say both of those things, you have a little bit of crossover, but it's not too bad. So that's kind of ideal, I think. Does that make sense? Okay. So you want to build links that say more than one thing. What is the perfect...
Hey, Brad, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I've got a mic. One of the things that Brad does is on his links to us page, where he's got the HTML, he changes that every so often. I saw you looking at that, and the motors were moving. So, as many link exchanges that he gets, he might change it once a week.
So what you do is you basically optimize for sub-keywords that always contain the main keyword. So, for example, something you tell them to link with bridal wedding favors, shower.
Right, but that's not really a sub-keyword. That's really a main keyword.
No, but my question is, for example, if you want to optimize only for wedding favors, but not to be caught in a trap and also get some sub-keywords, you try to optimize for 3 keywords term that always contain the 2 keyword terms wedding favors. That's what you do, or it's
long anchor text.
Yeah. I mean,
long anchor text. You could have multiple keywords in incoming.
Yeah. Technically, the way I think the way the page reputation works is this, and I'm not sure if this answers your question, but it's probably a point I should make. Is they look at the number of links that point to your site, and they look at the number of those links that contain the keyword that's being searched. So it's how many of all the links contain the word wedding favors. It's not so much how many words are in all the links. So if you have a link that says wedding favors, bridal shower favors, and that's the whole link, that doesn't dilute you for the word wedding favors. Does that make sense? So the denominator on the ratio that's important is the total number of links, not the number of words that are in those links. So if 100% of your links contain the keyword wedding favors, then your reputation would be 100% wedding favors, and it doesn't matter that the links also contain a bunch of other words. That said, you don't want to have 100% of your links contain your major keyword. You want to mix it up a little bit. What do you think is the right percentage? My take is probably these days around 50 to 60%. 95% is too high, 90% is probably a little too high. But then you start to get some overlap. So I might have 50%, 60% say wedding favors, but some of the other ones say bridal shower favors, which also helps for favors. I think I might even be ranking for favors by now, I'm not sure.
Don't you find it's different at different groups depending upon the level of involvement?
Yeah, that's a good point. Without the microphone, he just made the point that it depends on the category that you're in, and it does. So what's the best way to do it? Go to the people that are ranking for what you want to rank for and go get links from them.
Brad, I still have a
But that's sort of, hold on one second. That's sort of a separate issue. I say go get links from them. That's going to help your relevancy. But look at the percentage of the links. And we need to take a look at OptiLink real quick. Do we have time? Yeah, let's do it. We've got time. You're right, and there are.
Well, we'll put an end to that. you're not competing against Google. You're competing against your competitors. If your competitor's link density is 75%, you need to target 75%. If it's 40%, target 40%. Google's bell curve is established by who's already in the SERPs. So reverse engineering and learning how to observe is the most important critical thing that you can do, and that's one of the things Brad's going to teach us how to do with OptiLink. So, we can say, based on observation, an aggregate observation, that most of the sites that we see have a keyword density of 60%. But if you're targeting something like coolest guy on the planet, it might be 100% because there's only 25 or 30 sites for it. So it all depends on who's already there.
Andy, do you have your OptiLink password?
Oh, do you want my computer to use SEO? Why don't we break and then
Yeah,
we'll
okay,
set up-
okay. So after, well, not right now, but after the break, we'll come back and we'll demonstrate OptiLink and how you do a backlink analysis and what that means. About what? Yeah, we're gonna talk about. Yeah, let me get to these real quick. Let me give you guys a couple ideas for outsourcing or insourcing the physical work of going out and getting a bunch of links for you. And we'll probably take 5 or 10 more minutes, and then we'll have a break. And when we come back, we'll get a computer that's got the current version of OptiLink on it and do some link analysis for you and show you that. Oh yeah, this is it. Okay, cool. The only other thing I was going to talk about was buying a site, and you can get some interesting things going on, and a couple thoughts for you on that. But let me kind of cover with you, this is important. So it's important that you get good at what? Search and conversion. And if you're going to get good at search, you have to get good at what? Getting links. So it's important that you get good at getting links, but pretty quickly, your time's got to be more valuable than sitting there emailing people to trade links, posting links on your site, seeing if they're linking back to you, whether you're using software or not. Although maybe not. One of the really, really great things about link exchanges and just trading links with other sites is that it's free. And if you're on a low budget, you can do it yourself, you can get great results, and you don't have to spend any money. That being said, once you get to a certain level, a person to get links for you should be one of the first people you hire. Now this is an interesting thing. Let me put this in perspective for you. A lot of large companies, big companies, like Coca-Cola, big companies like big software companies like Oracle, big companies, they have large marketing departments with all these people working there making all this money. And how much do they spend? And then they go out and they want to rank in the search engines. And so they give companies $10,000, $15,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month to do their search. But these companies that want to rank for whatever it is that they sell, just like you want to rank for whatever it is that you sell, how many people do they employ that actually sit there and get links for them all day, every day? Ever. Most big companies never. Now my little Yahoo store, how many people do I have links that get links for me every day? See the disconnect there? Now I'm not saying that you need 3 people, and I don't always have 3. We use them for different clients and stuff, and I try to rotate them in on my stuff when I can. But the point is, one of the first people that you should get is a person that gets links for you all day, every day.
And Brad has more links than Coca-Cola does, just as a point of trivia.
And some of those are paid and whatever, and there's different ways that you can get them. But getting a reciprocal link, another reason it's good besides being free, it's going to be more relevant, right? Because it's going to come from a directory. And if I didn't already said, another reason it's good is because it's permanent. If you rent a link, you have to keep paying for it month after month. Once you get that link and you do a couple emails back and forth and the guy links to you, normally that link's just going to stay there permanently, and that's great. Okay, so a couple thoughts on outsourcing. There's 2 ways you can do it, right? You can hire somebody to get links for you, or you can have an outside contractor get links for you. If you hire someone, let me cover a couple of pros and cons. If you hire someone full-time, I think it's a great person to have on staff. It's more expensive that way. But what's good about it is the knowledge base that you build up over time. So every time you launch a new store, you've got this database over here, or this spreadsheet over here, or this Outlook group over here with all these people that you trade links with. You push a button, it's like, hey, first name, I got another site for you. They're like, great, because these are the people that you've linked to. You've already had emails. You know their personal email. You know their first name. You've actually had emails back and forth with them. They know you're not going to waste their time. You know they're not going to waste your time. And it's great. Push a button, they all link to you. You can see where that would be helpful. If you outsource all your link getting, you just pay somebody on a per link basis or something, you don't really build up that knowledge base. Although you can build links cheaper that way, sometimes it's a little bit better to have them you see the benefits of having somebody that works under your roof or maybe from home. There's a couple different ways that you can have people working for you and still have the knowledge base. It's just like anything else. If the person's there in your office all day, every day, you have a little bit more control. You know where the spreadsheet is. You know where the database is. It's right there, and you know when they're working. And so, you know. But there's other ways you can do it too. This is a great job for working home moms. You can find people that are, wanting to work at home and do stuff for maybe, 8, 10 bucks an hour or something like that. That's basically what we're kind of paying. If they're working at home, it's fairly easy thing to monitor because you're seeing how many links they're getting every day. How many emails did you send out? How many people link back to you? Make a spreadsheet, show me all the links you got. You can go and click on a few of them, make sure the links are there. It's not that hard of a thing to monitor. So of all the employees that you might have working remotely, a link getter is one of the easiest ones to manage. And if you let people work at home, usually you can get a better deal. Plus, just tax advantages of using independent contractors and things like that. If you outsource the link getting process, there are companies that'll do this for you. Companies like Linkage Express, Linkage X, PRESS, Linkage Express. You pay them a certain amount of money, they'll get you a certain number of links. Any questions on hiring or anything like that? Elance is a great place to go and look for people to get links for you. There's people in India that will do this. If you start doing much linking at all, they'll be contacting you for other stuff, and if you start contacting them, they'll find you and offer to do it for a certain amount of money per link. I've used a couple different guys over there. We have guys on our own team in India that we pay full time to do it, but you can get other contractors too. Okay, so that's a couple things about that. Let me just make sure I alerted you to these things to check out. Links Manager was mentioned. Reciprocal Manager is another one. Andy, do you use Reciprocal Manager?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Andy.
If you go to, I can show them the Armory's got a directory on it.
We'll show you the directory on the Armory for Reciprocal Manager. Link Market is a place where people can go and trade links. And you get emails every day saying so-and-so wants to trade links with you. Check out Link Market. PowerLinks is one of those things someone asked earlier about, some of these things are out there when you trade a bunch of links. PowerLinks is one of these deals with a hosted site on their server. They supposedly give you 1,000 links to your site. I'm testing that right now on one of my other sites. Bob, have you tried that one? I know. Okay, all right, cool. But you might want to mess around with PowerLinks. I don't know that I would do something like that on my main site. Do you know what I mean? Because it's kind of it's a real gamey kind of thing where you sign up and there's 1,000 people in the program. They host the links page, and you could host it on your site or not. All of a sudden you have 1,000 incoming links. Could be good, but most of the links on there are hosted by them, so they're all from the same IP address anyway, so it wouldn't count on a lot of help for Google, but it might work for Yahoo and MSN. Links for Trade, I think we mentioned, and Link Adage, again, is the auction site that you can go to and find people that are selling. Although there's problems on the auction site, sometimes people will do different little scams and stuff like that to make it look like their PR is higher than it is, and so you have to kind of be careful on that. But those are some of the issues and places you can go.
Brad, we have multiple sites, and this is something we're looking at. I don't know. We ran into a problem several weeks ago where we lost, all of our rankings due to this new algorithm, the Allegra thing. But almost all of our link pages, throughout, on website A, it's the same structure as on website B, C, D, E, and we're looking at that right now. I have no data on that. I'm wondering what your opinion is on that.
The sites that I saw that lost it in Allegra in the most recent update in February of 2005. I'm not seeing that as a variable that makes a difference as far as the link structure.
I'm wondering if that's something. No, I don't think that affected us yet. But I'm wondering if that's something that we need to address in fairly short order.
Having the exact same directory on multiple sites?
Yes.
You don't really have a duplicate content problem, of course, because you're not trying to get those pages to rank. It's just whether they count or not. Is it just one software program that runs them all? Is that why they're all the same, or is it your own?
Yeah,
if it's your own, I mean, you could mix it up a little bit. It wouldn't be hard. The same guy that made it can mix it up a little bit easy.
No, I understand. It's just where you put your resources right now into it. I wonder if that's.
It wouldn't be my highest priority, but I'm kind of like you. I would probably give it a shot if I had some extra time and have the guy change it a little bit. Certainly couldn't hurt. We know that for sure. But I wouldn't think that's your biggest risk. Any other questions? Okay, good. Well, I guess we'll...
Yeah, we're going to take a break in a second. I just have a question, though. How many people, before they came here, realized how important and powerful links were? Only a handful. How many people who are making pretty good money on the internet use links aggressively? Okay. So the people that have come here didn't know that. Are you glad you learned that? Do you have a sense of the mechanics of what it takes to go out and get links? Now, obviously, Brad just gave you a mountain of stuff to deal with, right? But you get the picture, and there's quite a bit of detail, too, to follow through. Last thing I want to say is, remember when I started this morning and I said, I started as a writer, and then I became a publisher, and then a marketer, and finally a banker. All these things develop naturally. So once you get a site up and you've proven that it can make money and you're starting to make a little bit of money, you will very naturally start to get really interested in getting more links, because you'll see the direct connection between links and more sales. Right now, for some, it might be a bit abstract, but believe me, once you've got the blood flowing, you're going to want more and more and more and more, and that's when this link stuff will suddenly kick in your mind. You'll go, what was that about links? Better go through the notes, and you'll find that, right, it's not painful to get links, right? Don't you enjoy?
No, especially in the beginning, it's a new thing. It's kind of fun seeing how it all works, and just get good at it, and then figure out how to make best use of your time by teaching someone else.
It'll also all come together in the next 2 hours when we talk about internal structure and some of the examples. I mean, Brad just basically blasted you with a cannon. In the last hour and a half, he basically gave you 4 years of search results and testing. So there's a lot of stuff there. If I didn't do it all day, every day, I'd be like, okay, what'd he say? And in the next hour and a half or so, it'll all come together. You see the application.
And the alternative would be to hear the propaganda that links don't count, which is the dominant mindset. Imagine those poor folks. I mean, they're never going to get anywhere, because they don't even know where they're supposed to be going. You guys know what the destination is, which is gradually building your links and your link getting strategies.
Ken, there's still a lot of search engine optimization firms out there. Oh, yeah. So like if you had a store, you'd think, well, I'm running my store, I'm running my business, I don't do search for a living, I'm going to go hire someone that does search for a living to outsource, and it's a legitimate business expense, just like my attorney or my CPA. I'm going to go hire a search firm. You'd be amazed how many search firms are out there today that still do all this, charge all this money to optimize your site and don't do anything about your link campaign.
It's, in my experience, search engine optimizing companies are one of the biggest black hole things for internet entrepreneurs, because they seem legitimate and they seem to know a lot of sophisticated things, and you feel, I should write them a big check. And
yeah, that's why my point is you have to get good at search if you're going to run an online store. It's up to you.
And it's not all the weird, coding and crazy stuff that they want, that some of these other search engine people say is what's key. What's key is links, and links is just doing it, just contacting people and adding them up. We had a raised hand in the back, yes, and then you'll be next.
One of the things that is becoming very obvious to me, I'm not experienced in this area, but it sounds like it's a lot of work. Would you consider this one of the next level of the cost of entry of becoming successful? Because paying $50 a month for a Yahoo store is a pretty low entry point. But if you want to become successful in this,
well, let's look at Mike. Mike, you're all paid, right? Pretty much paid search.
Probably 30 to 40% natural.
30 to 40. Okay, so you're getting into natural too. It all depends on how much money you want to make. For example, out of the gate, you were making money that I wouldn't mind. I don't think anybody would mind doing $11,000 a month in sales in a new business.
It's not that hard to get some rankings for things like beach wedding favors or some of your 3 and 4 word phrases and things like that. If you just build your site right, like Andy's going to talk about out of the break, you don't need a lot of links to rank for 3 and 4 word search terms. So that's fine. If you plan like that from the beginning, if you build your site right, you're going to pick that stuff up automatically. And if you know that, if you know how links work, you don't have to go get a quadrillion links that say my wedding favors pointing to the home page. You can go get 20 links that are nice links that are pointed at that second tier page, one click off the home page, that say beach wedding favors, and you can kill it for beach wedding favors. And 20 links.
And then you're in business, and at that point you think, well, gee, I'm making $10,000 a month. Wouldn't it be nice to make 20? And then you dust off these notes and you do the stuff that needs to be done to get there, or not. Brad obviously is not satisfied with just small monthly sales. He likes to build it as big.
Well, I keep showing this. I mean, I got to keep getting more links so I can try to stay up there.
But you could stop if you wanted, right? Just say, okay, enough's enough. I've done enough linkage. I'm going to kick back. So that's a personal.
We're talking about one guy, one $10 an hour guy out of all the business our store does and all the expenses and all the overhead and the warehouse and buying boxes and all. One guy, $10 an hour. That's it.
But absolutely, to answer your question, to play on the high levels, this is clearly one of the costs of admission, is getting into linking. And which is a good thing because 90% of the people don't even know it's important, and of the 10 that kind of know it's important, they think it's too hard. So God bless that attitude.
Let me put it this way. When you own a store, it's your job. When you have a store, a brick and mortar store, you have to have a roof and you have to have electricity and you have to have display cases. You don't have to have that with an e-commerce store. But what you have to have is the ability to place and rank in the search engine. So this is what separates what we're talking about today from anybody else that says start something online. You know, with an ebook, you've got joint venture partners and you've got affiliates that you can rely on to get traffic. Yeah, you can have all those things with an e-commerce store, but where everybody stops short of telling you how to operate an e-commerce store successfully is, we can spend all day talking about technology and we can spend all day talking about what my site should look at and how to source products. That is the minutia of what we do. You can set up a store and populate it with products and pay someone to do that for $275. I can show you where to do that if you want to do that. What you need to get good at, and this is sort of the skill that you need to take with you if you're going to be an internet entrepreneur at all. You need to learn how to get traffic. So this is more important than sourcing products. This is more important than shopping cart technology. It's more important. There's only two things: traffic and conversion. All this other stuff is garbage in the grand scheme of things. That's why I have 100 sites. If I got all tied up in building my shopping cart and making sure that I had all the nice technology and all that other stuff, I'd have 10, but I got 100. And that's the reason is because I've subscribed to lather, rinse, repeat. There was I think someone asked Mike Corals, at what point do you decide to diversify? I began diversifying the minute my store is open. Once my store is open, I've got a program in place to get my store links in order to rank. It takes me 90 days to get where I need to be and then 120 days to kill it. On day 15 after my store's open, I'm building again. So that's my strategy of diversification is it's out there. Everything else is links. Sometimes when I go to do a link exchange program, it's a lot easier for me to say, hey, I've got 4 sites that I want to exchange with. And they're going to get 4 links out of this deal, so they're going to give me 4 links back. Well, what have I done? I've quadrupled my efficiency there. I've gotten links for 4 stores all of a sudden. So it really, the question was, is it a lot of work? Yeah, but it's the most important work that you'll do. And that's really the point of entry. It's not the $50 a month, because anybody can do that. But the 35 people that are in here, you guys know more than probably 99% of people that are doing e-commerce.
You could be search engine gurus right now. Just start posting on boards and giving people advice, and you'll be perceived as gurus. And one last little motivational thing. Whatever your topic is, go to Overture, see what number 1 is, see what people are paying for that bid, multiply by 3, because for every paid click, there's 3 natural clicks. That's what those high positions are worth, and these could easily be worth 10, 50, 100,000 plus per month, which you can get just by getting $10 an hour people to write people and say, would you link to me? I mean, that seems a pretty good deal to me.
Yeah, I just want to cover 2 things real quick. Number 1, OptiLink, and then I think Andy might talk about SEO Elite or not. We might show you SEO Elite too, but OptiLink's the one I usually use, and the idea is you are looking for backlink analysis. So you go here and you put in whatever URL. So this is one of our competitors on wedding favors. And you go to Google and you put in how many links you want to search, 100, 500, 1,000. Usually to get all the links you make it 500 or 1,000. It takes a little while to run, so I just put in 100. And then the quick thing here is you're just looking for the compare tab. And then you come over here, and these are all the words that are in the incoming anchor text. So this is all about the page reputation. And then you can click at the top of the column here and sort. And so you can see that this site, I don't have the little clicker, but it's wedding favors is in 48% of the links. Wedding is in 44% of the links. Boku, their name, is in 11% of the links, which actually brings up an interesting point. As you build links to make it look, to get around the Google link trap and not get filtered and things like that, you want to build your links naturally, we talked about. I said naturally, and I really just talked about building a couple different links at the same time. Another way to think about that is, let me expand on that. What does natural look like? Well, if you didn't go out and purposely do link building, what would the links to your site look like? Think about that. Some people would link to you as the name of your company, which if your company is My Wedding Favors, that's good. It's another thing to think about when you're like naming your website. If people link to you as your URL, www.myweddingfavors.com, that's good. So people ask all the time, and I think most of you know, it doesn't really necessarily help to have your keywords in the domain name. And I think Andy talked about this yesterday, but the reason it's good to have your keywords in your domain name is because some people link to you as your domain name. And so if that is your keywords, then that's good. So it's another reason to have the keywords in the domain name. Boku, some people link to as Boku. Home, personalized, shower. They're actually number one for bridal shower favors now, so they've got some bridal shower, but that's less competitive. So there's fewer companies competing for bridal shower favors on the home page. Your home page is always going to be the most competitive. Why? Because you got the most links to it and you have the most page rank. So whatever you pick for your most aggressive, your most competitive keyword, usually you put that on your home page. But what if you don't want to spend all day getting links and you're trying to rank for MP3 player? Maybe you don't make your home page your main keyword. Maybe you make your home page to be your most aggressive keyword, and that's going to be a second tier keyword on somebody else's site. So maybe you just do a site and you just go after beach wedding favors, or for example, on your home page, and you have a much better chance of winning that if you make that your home page. So that's a consideration. Anyway, so that's how you use OptiLink, and what you're basically doing is seeing at a glance the anchor text of all the incoming links, and therefore your reputation. And so this one is a little bit low for wedding favors, and that's part of the reason. If you look on Google and you just search wedding favors, I don't think they're as high as some of the others, although they do have a bunch of links. So if they would increase their, see, they're not even on the first page, and they used to be. So they're a little bit low. You see that? You want to be a little 60-70% to have your keywords, maybe even more. So that's about how to use OptiLink, and so use OptiLink to find potential link partners. You use it to find the people that are linking to your competitors. Then you go to those ones, and most of them will probably have reciprocal link exchange programs. If not, maybe you can buy a link, but you go hard after the ones that are linking to the ones that rank high on Google. And then you analyze all the people in the top 10, like maybe number 1, maybe number 2, maybe number 5, maybe number 10. And what you're trying to do is see how many links link to those sites and what their anchor text density is for the desired keyword. And so that'll give you an idea of what it's going to take to get on the first page. So step 1, find a drop shipper who's got a good product, seem to have some good margins. Step 2, go to Google, look at who's number 10 for that keyword, and see how many links and what density they have coming in. And that'll give you an idea quickly how much it will take you to get on the first page of Google for that keyword, for that product. Make sense? Great. Okay, step 1, find a product. Step 2, to evaluate the product, the first thing I do, you can go to Word Tractor and spend all day, but what I do is I first go to Overture because it's very fast, and I type in the word. So if somebody shows me that I could sell a new cool kind of office chair, and I'm like, so great. So I go to Overture and I type in office chair and I see the search volume. Whoa, there's a lot. This could be a fun product if we get to the first page. But how hard is it to get to the first page? So you go to the first page and look at the bottom of the first page. That's who you have to beat, the guy who's number 10. So type number 10 into OptiLink, see how many backlinks he has, and see what his anchor text density is. And if it's a well-optimized site and he's got 80% keyword density for office chair, then you need to get more links than he does. And that'll give you an idea. Do you need 100? Do you need 1,000? Do you need 10,000? So you can see right at a glance how much search volume there is and how difficult it is to get on the first page of Google. That's it.
Question is, will OptiLink tell you what his backlinks are?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it does. So here's all the back. These are all the pages. These are the words on the page, and these are the words in the anchor text. But then you can click over here on actual. So here's all the domains that link to him. Here's all the pages, like the opinion guide. That's probably a paid link. Boku, those are all their own. Some of these are like site-wide links if there's a bunch of them. And then you can look at the links themselves, and you can actually set OptiLink to show you the PR of all those incoming links too. So you can see all the links that are pointing at the site, the ones that come up in Google. Now remember, Google won't show you as many as Yahoo, but we think that's significant. We think that's significant. So if you want to get more links, go find the people that are linking to them in Yahoo and go after all those. But if you want to rank on Google, I would start with my priority of the ones that are actually showing in the backlink directory in Google.
So what you would do is when you set that up, you'd put in the URL and then put in Yahoo the number of links you wanted, and then it'd run it based on Yahoo.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And that'll show you more of his overall link structure. So that's a little bit about OptiLink and how you use it. The one thing that I forgot to cover earlier this morning was I wanted to talk just a minute about three-way linking. As of now, it's 2005. And I really think that this year, as you start doing your reciprocal link exchange programs, you're going to hear a lot more about three-way linking or asymmetrical linking strategies. And basically what that is there's some talk out there that reciprocal linking is a thing that people do to manipulate the search engines, so perhaps the search engines are opposed to reciprocal linking. I'm not sure that's true. I mean, you know, there's probably limits. Like if you have a wedding site and you have a directory that's got other wedding sites in it, I'm not even sure the search engines would be opposed to that. If you have a, if you have a real estate site and you have a directory that includes everything, maybe, who knows? It doesn't really matter because it works like a champ right now, definitely. So, but the point is, there is some talk, and whether it's true or not, some people are starting to think that reciprocal linking isn't as cool as it used to be. So, what you can do is three-way linking. So if you have more than one website, you have your linking website and you have your real website, your store. So you have your store and you have your link partner site. So what you say is, look, if you link to my website here, I'll trade links with you, but I'll link to you from this site over here. You see, three-way. And normally they're going to, and they might just be fine with that. So they're going to link to your store to the home page from their link directory, and you're going to link to their home page from your link directory, but it's on a different website over here. And that could be great, just like that. Now they might say, well, yeah, I want to do that too. So I'll link to you from this site over here, and you link to my site over there. So that's almost four-way linking. And it's not just reciprocal. So it's asymmetrical, and that's the fancy term. Huh? Triangulation, asymmetrical linking. But the point is, it can be a good thing to do both on the receiving end and the sending end. So one of the things we're testing right now is putting in the subject line, link exchange, parentheses. Parentheses always get people's attention in copywriting and stuff like that. Link exchange, parentheses, three-way link. Or triangulation linking or something. We haven't used that one. We use three-way linking. And sometimes that might get a little more attention because they know you're savvy, they know you're with it. And I'm just telling you that in 2005 going forward, more people are starting to get interested in three-way linking. So as people contact you for that, that's what it is. It's a good thing to do. So how do you do it? You've got to have more than one site. So a couple tips on the other site that you might use for this kind of a strategy, and it might make sense to plan this from the beginning because you probably want to have more than one store anyway. This is one reason you might want to consider doing it sooner rather than later. So if you have your one store there, you have this other site over here that's actually going to trade links. Here's just a couple ideas for what you might do to make this a better link partner. The goal is to make this site over here, well, that's not even your real site. Why do I want to link from that site? Because it's better. Because it's better. Why could this be better? Is so if you create higher page rank pages with nice limited number of outgoing links, around 30 or 40 links on a page, no more than that. Don't even get up to 50. Keep 20, 30, 40 links on a page. Don't get more links than that. And here's the thing. On most websites, when they have a linking directory, they have one link to the directory off the home page. Well, what you could do is on your link partner site over here, which is used for the purpose of being a site that people want to trade links with, is what you could do is you could have a link at the text footer of the site. You could have a bunch of text links to every category in the directory. Does that make sense? So instead of just having one link on the home page that goes to the main directory and then filters out PageRank from there, you could have 20 text links on the home page, one direct link to each one of the main categories. And that would get more PageRank to that directory, and it would look as an even more attractive link partner to people. So a couple of thoughts there. All right, so that's three-way linking. That is OptiLink. Andy may or may not talk about SEO Elite. One thing I do want Andy to talk about is he's going to show site structure, and we'll probably use some examples from the coaching program that we did. We don't have a coaching program right now, but we had an apprentice program. I'll probably get Andy to tell you about that because he's got some really neat stories. We worked with these people for 4 or 5 months. Some of them started from scratch. Some of them already had stores, but they've got some great examples. So we can use some site structure for examples, and he can tell you some pretty good stories about people that got great results in a couple of months. And we're not doing a program like that right now, but just to kind of show you some other people that were starting out in many cases with just their very first store. And I think there's some great stories there too. So we'll tell you some of those. And one more question.
I still didn't catch the name of that software package.
Oh, this is OptiLink. And that's not their website, optilink.com. That's one of their affiliates. If you go to bradfallon.com/opti, that's my affiliate link. but it's a good program. OptiLink, I think his site is optitext.com or something like that. And he sells OptiLink and OptiSite, which we didn't get into, but that's a tool that you can use once you've built your store. It actually goes and spiders your whole store, and it makes sure that all your internal links match your internal title tags and your internal page content. And so it's a great tool to make sure you don't have any spider traps or loops that where search engine spiders can get caught. And Andy's going to be talking about site structure, so I'll leave all that to him. One more question?
Could you expound upon, because I'm totally ignorant about link farms, because my theory is, you just have to do it the natural order, and you need to give, the intended result is to be able to give the person, if a person's on the internet, he's looking for something to either buy or information. That's my theory. And so I want to give him what he's trying to find, and that's easy to figure out. And I hear people talking about link farms, and I don't know anything about it. But what I have drilled down to see who owns these things, and most of them are big SEO companies.
Right.
No, they are. Totally.
Yeah. Well, the word link farm is a pejorative term to describe an artificially created series or website or series of websites that are created for the purpose of creating backlinks to websites that are trying to get search engine rankings. So that's what it is. It's a pejorative term. So when you say a link farm, you mean that in that's a bad kind of thing. Now, of course, people are always building websites and content and blogs and RSS feeds and doing all kinds of things to get all the link popularity that they can.
Would that be a reciprocal link exchange? Would that be? Could that possibly be?
Some people consider a reciprocal link exchange to be a bad thing, but they're in a very small minority now. People that disfavor link exchange programs right now only disfavor them because they think it's too much effort for what you get out of it, and I don't think that's true. I don't think that's even remotely true. But that would never be a link farm.
If you drill down, GM has one, Ford Motor Company has one.
Has what?
Reciprocal link exchange.
Okay, well that's good.
If you find out who owns these things, they're big search engine optimization companies all over the world.
Owns what with?
A reciprocal, link exchange.
Well, okay. Some of the big search engine companies would do things amongst their clients and create other sites, and they would do things that would artificially create links. Let me say this, and also the big companies tend not to do reciprocal link exchange. Like, you're not going to go to Apple and say, hey, I have a site about computer products, let's trade links. Apple.com doesn't want to trade links with you. That being said, if you get a store, like I saw a site that ranked really high for, one of my clients was selling electronic medical record software, and there was a site that came out of nowhere and was ranking on the first page of Google, and I'm like, this is a pretty competitive search term, by the way, and I'm like, how did that happen? Well, it turned out their software had been used with the Macintosh implementation, and Apple featured it on their website. Here's a link back to their site. Boom, that's it. That's all you need is one PR8 link like that. So, but that's the digression. Most of the point is most of these big websites are not going to have a reciprocal link exchange program. If they're starting to do it, I'm not surprised. It works great. So like if you're a big hotel chain and you want to rank for New York Hotel and Dallas Hotel and Miami Hotel, why wouldn't you have a reciprocal link exchange program? But they're just big, and they have nice fancy websites, and they don't have a bunch of guys sitting for them, although they're starting to kind of get with the program. So for us, what does that mean? It means that you can rank for a lot of stuff. Do you want to come out of the gate and try to rank for MP3 player or discount MP3 player? I don't know. I mean, you could rank for anything given enough time and effort. That's all it takes is time and effort. But you pick a product where you've got good margins, you find some nice drop shippers. You don't try to rank for online Viagra. You try to rank for, you know, something that's a little bit more niche than that, and you go out and kill your category, and you can make plenty of money to support a small business, and from there make it as big as you want to make it. So that's my take on that. A couple more ideas. So let's let Andy talk about, we're going to kind of segue from linking and external link structure to talking about the internal site structure, and that has a lot to do with linking too, as you'll see.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Brad. I actually just wanted to follow up quickly on the question, which was, is it a lot of work? And the answer is yes, but it doesn't have to be as much work as your competitors are. And I just want to illustrate a quick point. As you guys know, I'm pretty proud of this because it took me years. I actually rank above Yahoo for the search phrase "Build Yahoo Store" in Google. Now, in Yahoo, they actually beat me, but I think there's some collusion there. Having said that, if you were to compare the number of links that Yahoo has versus the number of links that I have, anybody want to take a guess who's got more? Yahoo, on the order of a geometric progression. But the reason that I'm able to outrank them in Google is because my links say the right things more often. So there is a strategy here. You don't have to brute force your way into a search position. You can be clever. You can be intelligent. You can be thoughtful. You can have OptiLink or SEO Elite and find out exactly what the overall density of the person that's ranked number one is, and aim a little bit north of that and aim a little bit south of that. Because again, you're not competing against Google. There is no magic number to rank for build a Yahoo store in Google. There isn't. They don't have a separate little section database says this is what we're choosing. They're saying that, well, before I beat them at least, Yahoo has this percentage of their links say build Yahoo store. Now, they decided for whatever reason to give them the top position. All I did was come in and say, I'm going to try to have a little bit more percentage, and that didn't work, so I decided to have a little bit less percentage of what Yahoo had. And I mean, and I needed to get to a page rank 6 before that happened. I needed to have content on my page about building a Yahoo store before that happened. I needed to have content on my site before that happened. But it is possible. So there are instances where, you know, Brad and I aren't going to waste our time going after MP3 player or buy Viagra online, because it's just, you know, there's other great pickings, there's other ripe targets out there that you can get to that you don't have to work as hard as you would if you were going after one of these capital search phrases. So that's all I wanted to say, is that yeah, it is hard, but you can be smart about it. The other thing I wanted to do before we talked about site structure was actually just talk about a piece of software that I use as an alternative to OptiLink, and it's called SEO Elite. And it's essentially the same sort of software. I find that it runs a lot faster than OptiLink does. I also find the GUI, the graphical user interface, to be a little bit more pleasing, but it does the same thing. Now, I went ahead and I ran, I think, I ran a report, a backlink report on just a couple of hundred. I think I set it for 300 links for Build Yahoo Store, and I just wanted to show you some of the things that are important here. This report right here tells me which search engine, these are all the links that are pointing to my Yahoo Store Builder site, Yahoo Store Profits, which you guys have that book. This tells me what engine those links exist in, right here. And actually, you know what, I should probably just, so that everybody sees this. All right, that's the engine that the backlinks exist in. This is the site that the links are on, complete with the page. Who do you think owns this site? This is the IP address that it's on. This is whether or not there's an actual link. You see, what happens is the spider from SEO Elite goes out and crawls the Google backlink index. And then the spider actually goes to the site because the Google backlink index could be out of date. What's in there doesn't get updated except for about every 5 or 6 weeks. So the links could be gone. So what the spider does with SEO Elite is it checks the Google backlink index, and then it actually goes to the site and find out whether the link is still there, right? So it's telling you the difference between what Google's displaying and what actually is. And then this is the Google PageRank. You can set OptiLink to display the Google PageRank of the page that's sending you the link. This is the title tag of the page that's sending you the link. This is the anchor text of the link pointing at my site. This is the best competitive research tool that you can do. You can figure out exactly what your competitor is trying to rank for. Now, if you're going to reverse engineer me, what's one thing that just this small sample is telling you? There's money in the keyword sell online, right? I've made an effort to try to optimize for sell online. I think I might be on page 2, but I just started doing that. As we continue to scroll through, you'll see that there are other instances of anchor text, like, hey, build a Yahoo store, home resources, Yahoo Store Builder. Again, another reason to have your keywords in your anchor text. Someone just decided to link to me with my URL. Build Yahoo Store Builder. All right? So this was a calculated decision to name my URL that, because when I don't have control over how people link to me, I still want to get as much benefit as I possibly can. Sell online with a Yahoo store. I bet you I rank pretty good for that. So again, this is not the sum total of all of my links. This was only 300 out of the sum that I have. But if we let's just make sure that I'm not talking out of my two sides of my mouth. Remember that tool we talked about yesterday? MarketLeap.com. All right, we're going to do the link popularity check. We're going to do www.yahoo-store-builder.com. And we're going to do www.yahoo. And it's 3S6. So MarketLeap is going out right now trying to figure out how many links I've got. And again, this is like I said before, this is a great instant competitive research tool. You want to find out whether or not you are facing down a rhinoceros or whether or not you're facing down just a little elf. Because you can probably take out both. I mean, I took out a rhinoceros when we took down Yahoo Store, or Yahoo, in order to be first for Yahoo Store Builder. Let me skip to the end page.